There, with the yellow flags, everyone lined up on the grid as they would like them. The final car takes to the grid now, and any moment now the lights will come on. The green flag waves at the back. The revs will indeed rise. Let's have a look then. Get them ready to go. There are the revs, they're away. And you can see the torque steer, everyone going to the right-hand side of the grid. But look at Buki trying to come through the middle, and it looks like he's already got it done before turn one. What a start from David Buki. There's contact, though, between McHugh and Dalzell. There's another hit as well from Out Williams. And, starting from pole position, it's like a bad jinx for McHugh, and he is off the circuit already. Down towards Beckett's they go. And David Buki is leading it there. Apologies for the camera issues there. Just having a little bit of a moment, but David Buki, well, we said, didn't we, Scott, that he needs to make that breakaway. There you go.
Absolutely, and he managed to get out of the trouble which unfortunately Paul McHugh found himself in. Dalzell is still in the mix, as is Out Williams. They've got a little bit of body damage on a bit of the bumpers. In fact, there's the piece of bumper, I think, hanging off the front of Out Williams' car that's been bent in somewhat. But it is David Buki leads the way, and here comes Jamie Tonks, good for second place. As you mentioned, Paul Taylor make it 3 abreast with Alistair Camp and Martin Dalzell. Really fast starting Alistair Camp, and also as well Paul Taylor. As for Bruce Winfield, I think he's about 7th or 8th, I think. He hasn't made up as many places as I think maybe many would have expected him to, but the top 3 are trying to break away already with David Buki in front. And of course he was in the contention for the win until he got caught up with Damien Harris at Thruxton, and unfortunately the pair ended up making contact at the club chicane, and that was affected the race end over for both, unfortunately. But this time, hopefully, in no bad luck for David Buki this time. But it's Buki who leads it then, from Tonks in second, with Darlington third, and there's Bruce Winfield who goes side by side with his sparring partner from race 1, Max Lewis, and edges him out onto the curbing on the exit of Cops. If he gets pinged for that, he'll say, "Honest governor, I got shoved out wide. It wasn't my fault."
I'm innocent, Your Honour. But McHugh is still going, by the way. He just screamed his way past our commentary box here at Woodcote. There is David Buki leading the way then, coming towards us. Darlington's still up there as well. He was in 3rd place across the line last time. Taylor gained 3 places on lap 1. So too did Alistair Camp. Bruce Winfield and his sparring partner, like you say, Max Lewis, were together. Dalzell and Camp in there as well. Look at that down the inside of both of them from Dalzell. He's going to run a little bit wide, but he gets past Taylor as well. That was flawless stuff by Dalzell. He had a bit of a rough first lap with that contact and then getting swarmed by Taylor into Brooklands on the first lap. But wow, that was a fantastic manoeuvre. That caught all of them off guard, trying to get through this as well. Alistair Camp trying to make up places. Oh, that's Lewis having a bit of a moment there as well. And Camp has got past Darlington down the straight. Bruce Winfield is in there as well. He wants to try and make places, but he's thinking, flipping heck, these lot have got their elbows out a little bit more than I imagined after that first race. But what a fantastic start we've had down the inside of Darlington as well. Darlington going backwards a little bit there, but he's still within the pack. Bruce Winfield, there you go, fastest lap of the race, 106.622. What a time that is, Scott. He's really on it now, even in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, he's really going for it. A little wide there for... That was the Damien Harris, by the looks of things. Sorry, the carts at the back of the... Samuel Barrett was running a little wide towards the back of the field. It might actually be Harris, in fact, in many cases. So, onto the back straight they go once again. Still with Buki in the lead. Tonks in 2nd place. And then Dalzell with that fantastic form in 3rd place. Dare I say, if he sets a good enough pace, imagine if he wins this race after that contact in turn 1. It'd be pretty impressive. Here comes Alistair Camp, though. Making a dive, and they're going 3 abreast to get into Brooklands. They almost went either side of Dalzell, so a bit of a pincer movement to try and get him back through Brooklands, but didn't quite work that time as Taylor holds on. But Camp's now sitting on the outside line to try and get the switch back on the exit of Luffield if he can try and squeeze through. Can't quite make it stick, and running wide there is Bruce Winfield. He's on the back of Alistair Camp now. And there's the headlight flash and Paul Taylor. Come on, Martin, get on with it. We've got to try and catch these top 2 as they come out through Woodcote Corner.
Alt Williams in the background, by the way, has just gone past Max Lewis as they're going across the line, so he's made that move stick. Dalzell still in 3rd, though, with this absolute train of Hondas behind him. Not like it'd be anything else. But Taylor then 4th position at the moment. He's now under pressure from Camp and Winfield, like you said. They're right together. Look at Alistair Camp there with the pink flashes on his car and the day glow yellow all over the back of Taylor. As I said before, you can see the differences in the rear wings that they're running. The Mugen rear wing on the back of Camp's car, and the standard EP3 Type R rear wing on Taylor's car. It looks like Alistair Camp's got a really good run out of Beckett's now, and down towards Brooklands. He might already have had that done. Not quite, but look at Bruce Winfield around the outside, Scott. He's trying to get in on this as well.
Yeah, he wants to go through the middle of both Taylor and Camp, but he can't quite manage it. As Alistair Camp does indeed squeeze through into 4th place. That puts Taylor down to 5th, and if he's not careful, it might be 6th, because the charging Bruce Winfield, who's the most successful driver so far this season, he's taken, I think it's 5 wins out of 4 as Ross Darlington runs wide. and that's going to allow possibly both George Out Williams and Max Lewis through, and Out Williams squeezes past.
Yeah, I've just seen as well Bruce Winfield talking about squeezing past. He was very, very close to making contact with Taylor as he went through. Now we've got Camp on the back of Dalzell, and Bruce Winfield is going to be putting the pressure on from 5th place. He's done a good job, but look at the front 2 here. Buki did open up a real gap before, but last time round Tonks was 0.2 of a second quicker, which wouldn't sound like too much, but visually he's really closed in. And look at this now, down the inside, Camp into the back of Dalzell. That's not the first time he's made contact today, but that was definitely not track limits from Alistair Camp there. He was just all over the shop. Bruce Winfield's getting a run as well now. Get on the grass, he says. Try some of that. Eat your greens. He's just trying to squeeze his way through. And Bruce Winfield says, not on your life, mate. Down the inside of Camp as well. What a fantastic move. He breaks a little bit early because he knows Camp might have squeezed him in. Camp's going to run wide, and is Dalzell going to give him the room? He is indeed. Nice stuff, good avoidance. And Bruce Winfield somehow manages to come out on top out of all of that. He gets back on the power, pumps all the power through the front wheels, and somehow they're all still on circuit together. What a brilliant battle that was.
I imagine Rob Baker was having heart palpitations watching that, watching 3 of his team cars go side by side, almost practically hitting each other. I think, to be honest, in my thought of it, Camp's move looked a little ambitious, but that's what set it off. The eventual sequence that allowed Winfield to get through. So 3 area cars into 1 wouldn't have gone. I think that Rob Baker would have given them quite a stern talking to and quite a hefty bill off that if that happened. So
yeah, would have been like to be a fly on the wall in that one.
Yeah, but what's interesting now is Bruce Winfield with Alistair Camp in tow. Always does another move there upside of Martin Dalzell. That is George Jack Williams recovering. And Paul Taylor's also slipping back a little bit as well. And it's side by side between these two. It's 2 more area motorsports. I think it is, because it's Dalzell and out Williams side by side in the run towards Brooklands corner. There's the leading 2. What's intriguing now is how much can both Winfield and Camp, who they can inadvertently work together, how much can they bridge that gap to the leaders as Out Williams does go up the inside of Dalzell and just cuts it fine through there. We should mention George Out Williams hasn't even passed. I think have a look for a second here. He hasn't even passed his driving test yet. He's 17 years old.
Oh,
and he's up there battling in car number 5. That's the reason why he has to go across to the Black X. He is a rookie in this championship, but he's driving like he's done it for years.
He's driving it like he's stolen it. It's like that, honestly. Absolutely on it. So fair play to Out Williams. That's fantastic, that is. That's really impressive. And again, thank you to whoever provided the information. I'm sure Scott will enlighten me.
I think that was Bryn. I think it was Bryn, in fact. So
okay.
Thanks to Bryn on that.
Cheers, Bryn. At the moment, though, Dalzell is defending for his life, but someone else that needs to defend for his life at the moment is Buki. He's got the bright pink rear wing, the bright pink wing mirrors, but also Bruce Winfield, like you said, Scott, him and Camp are really closing in on these top pair now, and with 7 3/4 minutes to go, this could go anyway. It really could.
Well, it's only half distance in the race. We had that much action, so I think the phrase is rubs hands with glee, because I think this is going to be pretty good. As Jamie Tonks does just die out the inside line. And it looked like it was a tentative look at the inside to think, right, I'm just going to try and distract you and put you wide. It might have worked, in fact, actually, because Buki does go wide. This puts Tonks onto his rear quarter as he goes through. But look at Bruce Winfield thinking, not boys, I'm back in front, back in contention for the lead here. Let's see if I can make some progress. And now Tonks is going to put Buki under pressure. But the harder these two fight each other, the easier it's going to be by any day of the week for Bruce to get through. And the scrap for 5th is looking pretty tasty too, between looks like Taylor, Dalzell, Lewis and Darlington as they come up across the line. That's for 6th, in fact, because George Out Williams is in the top 5 now. Yeah,
car 5, P5 at the moment. That's phenomenal stuff. I'm just more amazed that he's not even passed his driving test yet. We've got a massive drift as well. I think that was Taylor just on the exit. Buki's coming under pressure from... That's Tonks in 2nd place. Apologies there, just a complete mind blank. Winfield, though, stick it to the inside there, all over the back of the number 4 machine, and now he's down the inside of Buki. This is going to get feisty, trust me, because Tonks has realised now, he's like, right, I can't mess about now in the background as well. Taylor's honestly exploring the track limits a lot here. You've also got Camp looking down the inside, and Bruce Winfield's ahead of Tonks already down the inside of David Buki. How have you done that, Bruce? Honestly, that's absolutely phenomenal. He makes it work one way or another. Now you've got to think about what Buki's going to do here with having Alistair Camp just trying to come around the outside. That's not going to work at Luffield. Watch out for Tonks as well, nearly making contact there. Almost going 3 wide, but Tonks thinks better of it. In the background, the nose to tail as well. But these pair, as they go around Woodcut once again, Alistair Camp's got a great run out of Luffield, and I think he's going to be ahead before they get down to Copse. David Buki you might just see him slot back into line here, because he's got a car length over Tonks. Yes, there you go, he does. Although Tonks is still trying to look around the outside. George Out Williams is going to be watching in the background. He's actually really closing in on this fight as well. Last time round, he was only 1.6 seconds off the lead. So the top 5 barely covered by 2 seconds here. This is frightening stuff for the leaders because they're just going to constantly watch their mirrors.
I don't want to be the bearer of bad news to David Buki fans. I've just spotted on the timing screen, car 51, 10-second penalty for an out-of-position start.
Joking.
So it never rains but it pours with David Buki, does it? Every time he gets into position to win a race, something happens. And unfortunately, I'm afraid, out-of-position start for David Buki, that is a 10-second penalty. So what this means now is for one, we're back to square one what we were in race 1 between Winfield and Camp.
Yeah.
This effectively now becomes between Tonks and Alp Williams, who is, you're absolutely right, has caught these up. He's at a personal best from the on that last lap, 1 minute 6.425. He was at least a full 3 or 4 tenths quicker than the cars in front of him. So he's making up that gap. So what this now becomes is, I'm afraid David Buki pretty much is only third on the road, because now the battle of the third becomes Jamie Tonks versus George Alp Williams, whereas David Buki now becomes something of a catalyst. I hate to say it, but unfortunately the 10-second penalty means he does drop down the order with that. So also there's been a black and white flag that's gone out for Damien Harris for not respecting track limits. We have seen him go wide once or twice in this race, so there's possibly no surprise on that one. But gutting stuff for David Buki, who at one point looked so good for the win, but unfortunately it's just been, again, in a position to win a race that's just been snatched away from him.
It's that black and orange car, honestly. It's a curse for everyone else and just such a very incredible performing machine. But at the moment, you've got to say, though, Alistair Camp is one of the most underrated performances in this race for me, because he stuck with Bruce from the very get-go. He did it in race 1 as well. He just put the pressure on him. Bruce said in his post-race interview that, Ali was behind me, he says, but he was watching him and he knew he was pushing hard all the way through it, because from the outside it looked like it was a very easy race, the first one for Bruce, and it looks like he's making this easy as well. But let me tell you, he is definitely working hard in that car. You could see it cocking a wheel through Brooklands and through Luffield as well. Back round Woodcote one more time. We've got 4 minutes of the race to go. Buki still holding on to third. Tonks has actually been closed in on by car 5 P5 at the moment. George Alp Williams, so it's car 4 P4. Car 5 P5. I've only just realised down the inside, though, Alp Williams says, yeah, look at this. Down the inside he goes. Maybe a bit of a touch there or a bit of a slide from Alp Williams. They both just check the track limits lasers if they've got them in the curbs. Well, that was very, very forceful by Alp Williams. But look at this, though, from Alistair Camp. I think you might have to think at this point, in terms of tyre life, I know that they're not going to go off massively over a short race like this, but even still, from being at their optimum performance, Bruce is feeling the need to break the slipstream here. He knows that Alistair Camp's coming here for him to try and take this race lead. Maybe Bruce has just overdone it a bit on the tyres, just trying to get through the field here, because Camp seems to just have a lot more confidence. And look at the turn-in. He's really got it hooked up here, and Bruce has not got this all his own way as we first thought he might.
Oh, and up for third. Meanwhile, as that was happening, George Alp Williams is up into what is now third place, because the penalty has been applied to David Buki's car. So I'm afraid he's now dropped down to what's showing on the timing screen as 9th place. So that's gutting for David. I genuinely feel for David on that one, but unfortunately, if the rule is the rule. If you're out of position, that is a penalty. So unfortunately, he is the one that will have to settle for what is now 9th place. But you're absolutely right with Alistair Camp on that one. He really has stuck with him throughout that whole sequence. They started back on the 5th row together, being first and second with the top 10 reversed. Yeah. So, and making that sequence up through the field together is key. But I think Alistair possibly, as you say, it's a good point with the tyres. I mean, they're running Dunlops here this season, while the last couple of seasons they're running MRF. So they've had to change the tyre supply to fit in line with everything else with the VW Cup and TCR, TCT, which is all of the whole collective of Maximum Motorsport and Stuart Line. So, and they have been making some good feedback on these Dunlop tyres. It's intriguing to see just how much of a difference in performance it's making, and also overall how much great racing these tyres are providing, as Camp does take a small peak up the outside line. And again, this is going to be nerve-wracking stuff for Rob Baker with 2 of his leading cars battling for the lead. He'll be supporting them both. I'm sure at deep down he won't care which one wins. He's just hoping, just please get home without any contact, because he wants to take his cars back home to his workshop with minimal to no damage, please. And I think these guys are certainly obliging for that. We're going to get 2 more laps here at Silverstone underneath these beautiful clear blue skies and beautiful warm sunshine. Perfect day, perfect weather for motorsport this afternoon. And going into Copse Corner, Camp is still applying that pressure, and he's going to keep on pushing him here for the next minute and a half, I'm pretty certain. And Bruce Winfield is going to keep looking his mirrors here and carry on driving defensively, because if he's not careful, he's going to get pounced. He
is indeed, and like I said before, in his post-race interview, he made it very clear that he was watching his mirror and that he knew that Alistair Camp was trying to get there. Alistair takes a bit of a later apex there at Beckett's, tries to get the run, and he's going to get into the slipstream now. He's tucked right up behind the back of Bruce Winfield. Bruce is staying over to the left. He doesn't want Alistair to come down the inside and make the move. Alistair says, all right then, if you're going to play that, I'm going to go around the outside and then try and not get a compromised line, but there's a bit of an overlap that makes it a little bit more difficult for him. Bruce gets rid of that mid-corner. Just holds onto it into Luffield, gets the car settled, although he goes what looks like a bit deep, but we've seen this all day. People go a little bit deep into the first part of Luffield and then get a really good slingshot on the exit by taking a bit of a tight line on the way out, and it looks like that's worked for Bruce, because look, it's opened up by about 2 car lengths now over the second place man. Also, just behind, you'll just see it in the right of your shot as they come through, or you might not. George Alp Williams is right behind David Buki on the road now, so he might not know that penalty's been given, but he's still going to crack on and try and make the move on track. And Alp Williams has been a real sensation in this one as well, to be honest. It's been a fantastic performance, coming from the middle of the pack, trying to get, well, he's obviously on the road, not in the podium spot, but in terms of the timing he pulls out onto the left-hand side, doesn't quite get it done as they break for Beckett's. He's going to try and get the switch back. Takes a bit of curb on the inside, but it's a nice run by the look of it. Gets slight overlap. They're going to be side by side as they go down the straight towards Brooklands. Just behind them as well, Jamie Tonks is thinking, I could potentially benefit from this. Alistair Camp's thinking, I could benefit from some slipstream now if the car wasn't right in front of me. Bruce Winfield then is going to have to go defensive. This is going to be the last couple of corners for these cars, though. Alistair Camp has now tried to get the switch back, and Alp Williams doesn't need to push too hard now because he's got the time advantage over Buki. He needs to be very careful, though. But round Woodcote for the final time, it's going to be another win. Bruce Winfield, what a fantastic performance. Great stuff from Alistair Camp. And on to the podium, even though he's not done it on the road. Alp Williams, he nearly does it on the road. It was very close between the pair of them. 4th place goes the way of Jamie Tonks. Car 4, P4, like I said before. Dalzell will take 5th. Taylor 6th with Lewis in 7th. Buki is classified 8th, with Darlington only 8 tenths behind after that penalty. And then Harris will cross the line in just a moment in 10th position. But, wow, another amazing race. A real shame for the pole sitter McHugh, though, with that first contact on the first lap. It was such a shame to see it end that way. But, you know, these drivers, they push hard so often. They really just give it everything. And that's the most exciting part about it. There's the sprint race formats are just so enjoyable to watch because it's short, quick-fire stuff. And the drivers don't have a sort of, right, it's a long race, let's just chill out a bit. There's none of that. They just have to go for it, and there is your result.
Absolutely, I can't disagree with that. And that's it's a great advert for the championship. And hopefully, we get more drivers joining in as the season goes on, going into next year. So Bruce Winfield makes it 5 wins out of 6 races. He really is on course to hit the 2020 title, isn't he? With that form. But Alistair Camp, as we said, like in race 1, raced his way back up to the front with him, and he joined him towards the front in 2nd place. George Alp Williams, the young 17-year-old, hasn't even got his driving license on the road yet. Yet he picks up a 3rd place in his first season of champion racing. Fantastic stuff. Credit also to Jamie Tonks. It's his first full season of racing. He's doing superb. He's only ever done track days before this season. He's doing it superbly well. Martin Dalzell, welcome back to the championship with that. 5th position, having some great battles early on. Paul Taylor picks up 6th. Max Lewis is 7th. Gutting for David Buki. He would have finished 3rd on the road, but sadly, the 10-second penalty for the out-of-position start means he gets classified 8th with that penalty. Then it's Ross Darlington and Damien Harrison. The last finisher we had was Paul McHugh, who sadly went from pole position to the back of the field after contact at the first corner. So that's it for the Civic Cup for the moment. I believe their next rounds is going to be at Donington Park next month on October 17th and 18th, all things considered. And hopefully we'll be able to find out what the top 3 from that race found out very shortly when we hand over to Bryn. We've got more action coming up shortly with our 2nd race for the BRSEC Fiesta Junior Championship race with MRF title. Raising the eyebrows and excitement there from Chaz, as I mentioned that. And we've got plenty more races coming up from the MX5 Championship, more STXRs and Fiestas, then Super Cup again, then the 2nd Touring Car Trophy and TCR UK and VW Fun Cup race, and it's BRSC Club Sport Trophy and City Car Cup. So we're watching 1 or 2 of the juniors heading out of the assembly areas to the grid, just wiggling from side to side.
Loke, wasn't it? He's literally on 2 wheels around Brooklands. He's driving that thing so hard on the outlap. But we need to just pass down now to Bryn, who's in the pit lane with the top 3 from the Civic Cup.
Yeah, thanks very much there, gents. I'm just here with David Buki now. He doesn't seem to know about his penalty there, so he was a bit shocked, came into 3rd place, has just found this out. So he was racing very hard on track. I know that we were chatting about it, or the commentators were chatting about it, as to whether or not George behind knew that David had that penalty. He didn't know. That's the confirmation. He didn't know, so he's only just discovered it thinking he was in 3rd, not got 3rd there for him. But we've got our race winner, Bruce Winfield, of course, 5 out of 6 races. And over to my right, to my left, to your right there, is George, who came in incredibly 3rd, George Alp Williams. Now, the juniors are about to start, so I'm not sure we're going to get any time to speak to any of these drivers, which is a real shame, because Bruce is over there at the minute. I actually want to speak to George. He's the main one, but Fiestas are out on track. So what we might do I'll have to try and work this out. What we might do is manage to get a chat with George after this race, unless I can grab him in the next few seconds. Fiestas are out on track. We've got a few moments, really. We'll see if we can get a quick word. But let's just see the celebration there. This is a 17-year-old with no driving licence, provisional only, really, and he's just come third with the likes of Bruce Winfield, Alistair Camp as well. What a phenomenal performance there from George Williams. Just watch the scenes as he takes the plaudits from his fellow competitors. Well, the Fiestas are just heading off now on their out lap. We only got about a minute, something like that, so we won't be able to get an interview with any of these drivers. We know what Bruce will say. Well, it was tough, but he won the race. He did that, 5 out of 6. Alistair Camp really had to work hard. But the man of the hour, just over to our left, let's just take a look at him for a second. It is George Williams getting his podium, his third place there. What a phenomenal drive from that man. And yes, it was David Buki who thought he got himself a third place, but unfortunately starting out of position meant he got a 10-second penalty. Great race from them all. We're heading back to the commentators, though. We won't be able to get the interviews in here, but we'll head back to the commentators for the next race, the Fiesta Juniors. In theory, George could race in the Fiesta Juniors, but he's not. But over to the commentators for the next race here from Silverstone, the Fiesta Juniors from the BRSCC.